Hello from Minnesota.
Mm, Getting alive.
Hello, Zinzino from New York.
New York.
Hi
Sarasota,
from
Florida.
Mexico City.
Hello,
from
Mexico
Sweden.
City. Sweden.
Hello from Ontario.
Hello, hello. I see.
Hello from Pretoria, South Africa.
Hello, South Africa.
Hello from Lake Tahoe.
Yo, Tahoe.
Fun. Hey, Brad, where are you calling in from today?
Sarasota, Florida.
Aha, is that home?
It is home. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sunshine.
Hello. Hello, everyone from Houston, Texas.
Hello, Houston. We've got another minute yet, so anybody want to say where they're calling in from? We'd love to hear it. And then we'll get started.
Hi. Leslie from Minnesota.
Yay, Minnesota. That's where I'm at today.
Mhm.
Good morning,
Yay,
Paul Lovato, Santa Rosa, California.
California, in the house.
Another castaway from Lake Tahoe.
Lake Tahoe, Lake Tahoe, hello to you.
North
Good
Hello from
Carolina.
morning
sunny
from
San Diego.
Miami.
I heard a Wyoming in there
It's
Fort
Miami.
Sweden.
and a Miami,
Oh, Minnesota.
Southern Illinois.
Illinois,
And Tennessee.
Minnesota,
Minnesota.
another Minnesota.
Summer.
Hello, Hello, California.
Florida.
Hello,
Oh, I gotta turn my audio off.
Mexico.
family.
hello, hello. I heard Mexico.
Indiana. Indiana.
Hey, Indiana.
Denmark.
Denmark. I hear Anne. Hi, Anne.
Hi, Carla.
Sunny San Diego.
Hello, San Diego.
Hi from
Mainland.
Mexico.
Mexico.
Hello, Mexico.
Mexico. Whoop, whoop.
North Carolina. Tennessee.
I see Texas. I see North Carolina,
Florida.
Florida. Wonderful.
Hello, California.
Woohoo.
Utah.
Yeah.
Sweden.
And Sweden. Hello. Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, North Macedonia.
Macedonia.
Wow.
Welcome, welcome.
And Sweden here too.
Another Sweden. Hello. Wonderful. Well, we are ready to get started here. I am going to mute everybody so that we don't have any background noise when people log in because we don't have time for that background noise. Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Wednesday call here. We just finished the last half or the first half of 2025. It's been absolutely amazing to see the growth, to see so many people on the run and on fire for Zinzino. Today, I have a special guest. He's the one who started it all. He's the one with the vision of where we're taking this. And it's not just that business. These products are life-changing. I know they changed his life. I know they changed my life. I know they've changed a lot of the people listening in on here. And I'm excited about what that has done, but I'm even more excited about where we're going in the future, how many more people we're going to be helping, both with their health, but also where this business has gone because of his vision. Now, it's been an exciting time in the last 13 years I've been a part of it, which I'm super excited about, but I'm also excited about what vision he has for the next 13 years. I know just here in 2025, we've got a lot happening too. So let's hear from him. I just need to unmute him. And there's so many people on the line. I can't find him. So let's see here. There we go. Okay, there. Great, Orjan. Let's bring him on here. The co-founder of Zinzino, together with his wife, the amazing five-star global president, Orjan Saele. Hello, Orjan.
Thank you, Carla. Thank you for hosting. You're doing such a great job. We appreciate you so much. I got a text message earlier today, which was one of those where how should you respond to it? And it was a picture, and it was outside of a leadership school or a Zinzino event, either one of the two. It looks like the July one that we used to do, but it could have been the October one as well, but most likely the July one. It was a picture of a big team, and then one of my leaders laying down in front on the red carpet, and everyone has their hands up, shouting, and they're excited. Now, the picture was 11 years old, which means that a lot of things have changed in those 11 years, and it came together with a sentence, and it was like this: 11 years ago, and only a few left. So I called up, and I can tell who it is. It's one of our elite presidents, Andrew Gullis, that sent me the picture. And I said, well, the journey to success is very lonely because not so many people want to go there. Now, obviously, that's the opposite from what everyone thinks about the journey of success. Everyone thinks, well, you can't say that, or and you're kind of crazy. You can't say that people don't want to go where they are successful. But I must admit, when I look at those old pictures, if it's the trip of 2006 or if it's the trip to I think we were in Mexico 2009, or if I look at Dubai in 2011, or if I look even at newer trips, like I think we were in, was it 17 we went to Bali last time, or was it 18 or 19? I kind of mixed them together because there has been 20 like global trips over the last 20 years. When were we in Bali, Carla? You probably remember better.
I'm pretty sure it was 2019 because that's when Arlo and Lori got engaged. So that's what I remember.
Arlo remembers. You better remember, Arlo. Otherwise, you're in more trouble than I ever want to be in.
He gave me a thumbs up on it, so I know it's 2019.
So if I look at those pictures, there is a lot of people that left the journey. So if we took a screenshot here today, and we're 166 people here, I hope and I pray, and I don't want anybody to leave. I don't want ever to have a picture again where friends and key players are not there on the success journey. Now, when I called up and said this to Andre, he was laughing, and he wasn't like sending me that picture because he was depressed. He was sending the picture for a completely different reason. And he's actually been sending me old pictures for like 1.5 weeks. Where the question is, how many is he still here? Is she still there? Because he is looking to re-recruit a whole bunch of them. He wants them into his team now instead of the other teams they've been in before. So he's got a positive spirit around it. So no stress with that. But there is a little bit of a thing that has been the subject for me for my first 6 months out of this year. And it's been a subject really for 20 years, but the first 6 months of this year, when I came out of reflection over Christmas, I set my New Year's resolution. I said to myself, we can never repeat the vision often enough, because the vision is clear for me. I can go an entire year without telling anybody about it, and it will still be crystal clear for me. I could probably go 5 years. I wouldn't manage to, but my vision inside of me on how the test-based nutrition is going to completely revolutionize the world wouldn't disappear. I see Brad nodding here. High five, Brad. I see Andy in the middle here nodding, or President there. And I see a lot of other people nodding as well. Welcome to the call to everyone that has their picture on. So happy about that. But you know, for a lot of people, even though they've been a part of the company that has revolutionized so far the view on omega-3s. Okay? So I'm just going to say so far, like the vision is much bigger. We're going to be the #1 preventative health company in the world. We're going to test 1 billion people, and we are going to have 100 million active customers by 2050. And the health results that comes out of our products is just mesmerizing. So that's very clear. But where we have really made an impact already in the scientific community, in the research community, in the sports community, and in the health and nutrition community is that omega-3s and the balance between omega-6 and omega-3 and testing for the omega-6 to omega-3 balance has become one of the, if not the hottest product in nutrition right now. And inside of the omega-3 is by far the hottest product of any product out there. This is what people are looking for. This is what people are reading about. And if you go to Grok or if you go to any of the ChatGPT, any of the engines, you will find, or AI engines, you will find that this is the way of the future. It just is. Now, I spotted that in 2012 when I took my first test. I said to myself, at least 1 million people would want to know the answer to this. At least 1 million people. Now we've done 1.5 million test results. We're very close to having 1 million individuals tested so far. We passed over 600,000 active customers. We sold over 1 million products last month. So we're kind of like having a following. The kind of community, the global community is growing. We're in 51 countries already, which is pretty amazing. It's a lot of work for me as well. I must admit that adapting to always having some demand from some country where you most of the time don't speak the language. There is a little bit of a growth that needs to happen inside of me as well to breathe lightly and deal with all of those things all the time. And then having also the corporate side of it, since I'm not only a field partner, I'm also co-founder and get involved with all of that with, I think we trade in about 30 different currencies and none of them will stay still. So first we have the problem of the currency of the dollar going up like crazy. Then now it's coming down like crazy. And then the Indian rupee is getting weak like crazy. And then we have Turkey with 40% inflation plus a currency that is like, there is a lot of things to deal with. And I don't want to go into the other things that we have to deal with in the middle of that. So there is a lot of things going on, 100%. But it's going really well. I mean, so far this year, we've delivered over 50% growth. If we do that for the second half, which I do expect, the second half of last year was a whole lot better than the first half. So if we deliver that 50% or more growth for the second half, is going to be absolutely incredible. That means that the month of November, if we deliver 50% growth in that month, that's going to be our first month above 50 million, at least US dollars, most likely euros. I got to do fine math on that, but the dollar is dropping towards the euros. It's going to be easy to do $50 million in November. That's nearly not a challenge even. No, I'm bragging a little bit too much here now. I should be careful with bragging too much.
So Orjan, just to see,
Yeah.
we've had incredible growth. I mean, people, that don't know Zinzino or never heard of it, when I'm talking about the growth, they just almost don't believe it. But now there's a lot of acquisitions that have came to, but the growth in all over in actually almost every country has been growing, whether there's acquisitions or not. So what do you see? You said a higher growth for the last half of the year. So what kind of growth are you expecting? Is it because
I'm
of
just
that?
talking about the same percentage, but the last half of the year last year was so much better. So it's just the same percentage, but that would bring us to a 50 million a month company in November. And if you think about that being 30 million in May, that's quite dramatic. Like if you think about the number of new ranks that we had in May, and then you add 20 million on a month-to-month basis on that by November, it's pretty amazing. And if we could do November times 12, which is going to be hard for 2026, but if we then did November times 12, that'd be 600 million in 2026, which I think is on the upside, but it makes 500 million in 2026 pretty inside of, I wouldn't call it a walk in a park, but a jog or a fast run in the park, still in the park, no obstacles on doing it. So that's pretty exciting. No, I'm going to give you the answer to it. The countries that are growing is the countries that are managing to fully embrace our concept. The teams that are growing, either through acquisitions or through just organic growth, is the teams that are fully embracing our concept of using the test. And not only using the test for the acquisition of new partners, but integrating it throughout the entire organization with every customer and with a follow-up on those customers. There is a lifelength difference between people that are tested and people that are not tested. I must admit that I don't have an exact number for you. It's a long time since I've looked at the exact numbers. But if I was going to make my best qualified guess, I would say that the tested people buy the products on outdoor order for an average of 3x longer than those that just enter us without the test. And that's significant, because if the people entering without a test would buy the product maybe for 6 to 9 months, that gives you like 18 to 24, 28 months, 29 months on auto order when they go through the first test and the second test. Now, there is different reasons why somebody doesn't test upfront. That could be personal reasons, but let's not be the salesperson reason, which is the teams that doesn't manage to embrace Zinzino as well as other teams, especially when we look at acquisitions. That's where the big difference maker is. Those that fully embrace this, they get a different result, because then people with the oil really use it for a long, 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 long time. And it creates a wonderful result. Now, here was the original vision. 1 million people will for sure get tested. They want to know their answer. Now, after being 13 years into it, what I'm seeing clearer than ever before is that everyone taking omegas, they will want to take the test. And it goes faster and faster. We are just before that massive breakthrough where they're actually going to call and ask you. I haven't had that happen a lot of times yet, but it's actually going to happen. In the end, people will say, can I get tested? I know that you work with Zinzino. Could you get a test for me? I did mention on an earlier call with you, Carla, that if it goes fast enough, we will run out of the products. So there will be a waiting line to get in line to get the product. That's the kind of growth that I'm seeing in the future for the company, where you actually get tested and then you sign up on a list and you're like an exclusive luxury brand. If you want to get a Rolex, you can't just go into the shop and get the Rolex that you want. You can buy a cheap model there and then. They've got enough of those, but then you've got to get on a waiting list for a couple of years before you get into having the watch that you really wanted to have. For those that haven't tried it, that might sound strange, but there is actually quite a few luxury brands like that where you got to get on the waiting list for their most popular products. Here, it's a supply and demand thing. There is a limited supply. The test drives up the demand, and in the end, there will be a challenge with the supply. Now, the good news is that before we run into those huge supply challenges, we'd probably have 5 or 10 million customers. So it's not something that is going to happen tomorrow, That's the good news. And the second good news is that by that time, we have our new inventions running and we'll be the only ones able to supply in that. So that makes me very confident about
Okay, you're saying some
going
stuff.
as
We
company. I'm just
want to
saying,
get into
I'm
there.
just gonna say, just one more thing before you say that, Carla. So what's gonna happen is that I really see clearly, and that's the message. Everyone taking omegas will test as 500 million people. When they get on this product, they won't quit it because they were already pre-decided to take omegas for the rest of their life. And then everyone taking nutrition and everyone interested in their health eventually will follow later on. And that's going to be 1 billion people or more in the next 25 years.
Yeah, it's powerful, Orion. But now we need to go back to running out of the product and that this new invention and that you've got things planned that we will be on the cutting edge of this industry. Any things you want to tell us a little bit more about that? Because I know everybody's sitting on the edge of their seats about that.
No. That's the most exciting part about our future is that for the world to get back into balance, the supply of food needs to completely change. For the supply of food to completely change, we need to make the food in a different way because in the last 60 years, we messed it up. So if you look at the last 60 years, what went well, what went wrong, if you look at trauma medicine, acute medicine, the effort was tremendous by the government and all the private institutions, and we delivered fantastically. So when somebody have an accident and they go to the hospital, we perform miracles every single day. It's amazing what we do with the healthcare system. It's absolutely 100% brilliant. On the opposite side, if you look at all the effort that we spent on having everyone with good health throughout their life, the effort was 10, but the outcome is like 1. We've been trying to have less people get diabetes 2 since the 1960s. How did that project go? We've tried to lower the heart failures, so when you have a heart failure, to fix them in a hospital, brilliant, 10 out of 10. Like what we do today is amazing, but to prevent it, 1 out of 10. The effort was 10, but result has not been there. And we could go into all of those kind of things called lifestyle diseases. The effort has been there. The money is spent, but results is very weak. So that's what happens. So to solve that, I do think that we need to change the food supply. But how do we do that when everything is in the position we are now? And I'm not saying that we can do that for everyone in every area. I'm not going to make that claim at all. I don't even want to try to make that. But for this product, I think we could. And for this product, I think we could. So this is the spirulina, soon coming as the Zinzino branded spirulina, 2.6 times more nutrient dense than any other spirulina you find in the market. Incredible product. So this is a superfood. We could supply this with our technology to millions and in the future, billions of people. With the same kind of technology that we grow these algae, we'll be able to grow algae in other versions so that we could supply everyone with something that is just a fantastic quality product. Let's leave it with that.
Okay, so we don't have to.
I've got it in the fridge upstairs, so I'm eating it every day.
Exciting. So people who are wondering that Zinzino will be on the cutting edge of test-based nutrition. We're also coming up with other tests coming. Maybe you want to say a little bit about that because I know that is also kind of a game changer.
I think I should be careful with saying too much about it, but the health protocol is the test, the balance test, and then it's the oil to fix the balance of the cell and all the benefits of that, which I think is number 1. Like that has to be resolved. If we don't resolve that, our body isn't working the way it could be working. The second part is the microbiome. This is the prebiotic fibers, works really quickly. We're looking into a lot of things around fibers and other things in that category, which is really exciting. Some of it you can see in our collagen boost. We use the postbiotics in that. So lots will happen in that area is also one of my predictions for the future. What if we had a test where you could truly measure the answer to what happens in your microbiome? And I think that we're going to have that when you come to Oslo in October. So that's the goal, and that's going to be a revolution in that. And then we have the Extend, which is the multi-immune product. And if you take Seal, you don't need Extend. If you take Extend, you can still use the Seal for the energy, just to clarify for those that are out there. Both products are brilliant, but that's the last part of the health protocol. So this takes care of all the phytonutrients, micronutrients, beta-glucans, and other things that you need for your immune system. This is about $100 a month, and it gives you the missing components of the modern diet. The modern diet is good in many ways, but in these three products for $100 a month, you kind of put in everything that is missing. So after you add this to your diet, it becomes like a pre-1960 diet when it comes to the nutrient density and the quality that you get.
So that's why Dr. Paul is actually saying, let's not call this supplements. This is actually food, because we need to change food, and we're getting that with the health protocol.
Yeah, or supplements is a future part of modern food. So I don't think we will be able to go back to where we didn't do farmed food and we didn't have factories to make food and we didn't make feed for the animals and so on, and we didn't have. I don't think that's a realistic world. There is a few people that think that that's realistic, and they also have in the proclamation that they want to cut the population from 8 billion to about 2 billion people. And it's sad for the 6 billion that have to go, if you get what I mean. So I'm not there. I'm more like we got to bring the planet to 10 billion or 12 billion people. And then this is a part of modern food. And I think that's better for the real estate market, for those that have real estate. I can tell you population growth is important, but it's also better for all the people that gets to survive, since they're not getting cut in the process of going back to traditional way of living, so to say. So I'm a modernist. I believe in innovation, improvements, and that we can fix what went wrong. And then 25 years from now, we will have a large enough, what we call a blue zone, uh, people living differently from the rest, that we can see on the data that this works better. And hopefully so well that everyone else will get in a line to sign up and say, hey, I want to be the next one. And that's of course a dream, but there is some companies that have achieved that in the past. I mean, if you think about some of the American brands where you needed to get on a waiting list, not right now, because now we have a little bit slower economy, but it isn't that long ago where you needed to get in a line to get the new Apple products. And then they sold out, and you'd have to wait for 2 months, 3 months. You needed to get in a line to get a Tesla. It's not that long ago, since that was like really hard to get a hold of that. And there is a lot of other things like that. If you go shopping for very exclusive furniture, got to get in a line, and sometimes I can't even get it the same year that I want to redecorate my house. I actually got to wait for the next season because they're sold out for the year. So Zinzino will be a health brand like that. That's my dream. And then hopefully we can always sell them some other products that are easy to supply in the meantime.
Okay. So, well, I'm not in doubt, and I'm sure people who are partners and understand Zinzino have been building. We get that this is cutting edge technology, making a difference for a global issue, and Zinzino's the company that's doing it. I mean, they're out there making that difference, and I think that's what is the growth behind the growth, or the reason behind this growth. So now, Orjan, if we go and say, okay, we understand this is the way health is going to be in the future. People are always going to be testing instead of guessing. It's that important that everybody gets this. We can prove it with the test. So the product is in order. The company is ready for the growth. We have vision. We have plan for it. So now let's talk to the partners that are wanting to build this business, because with that background, there's a lot of room for a huge growth for partners that are partners now or future partners. So what would you say to people who want to do a huge growth and with lots of momentum from now and on? I mean, we've got July coming, which we know sometimes can be vacation month, but what do they need to do to be having the growth, to follow along on that growth curve that we want everyone to have?
First of all, I think we'll have a fantastic July. Zinzino usually have that because that's when you meet all the people that you normally don't hang out with. So bring with you as many tests as you have. If you don't have any tests, get an order in today. So bring with you enough tests so that everyone you meet that you normally don't meet over the summer, you get their blood, you get it sent off, and you get 5 customers, 10 customers over the summer just by sharing what you've gone through, and that will turn out to a lot of customers. That's one of the reasons why we have a tremendous customer growth through July, and that results obviously in also quite a few partners, because when you test them, you just talk about product, you lead with the product, you want to help them with their health. Some of them reach out and say, hey, I want to be a part of this mission, of this journey. Which brings me to the second part. The reason why we need partners, if we manage to clarify that, this is like, it's easy and difficult at the same time. Why do we need more partners? Why do we need to recruit more people? Well, it's because if we look at the reality today, and I use this example, if you look at how many in America that needs to be in balance for their, just for the health purpose, like it's a lot of people. Would you agree with me? If we put the conditions a little bit, that needs to be in balance, that wants to be in balance, meaning that they have a health conscious mind, that are already supplementing with something, just to narrow down, that is supplementing in the budget, kind of like what you would spend on a balanced oil. We're still at 80, 90 million people in America that would like all of that. You agree? Is that about right, Carla? That'd be health conscious, spending money on health already, could afford $50 a month. So 90 million, it might even be 180 million, but let's just be very moderate and say 90 million people. So if we say that everyone is getting at least, let's say 10 customers each, to make the math very simple. So everyone that joins is getting 10 customers each. Well, then you take 90 million, you divide that by 10, then you're down to 9 million salespeople is what we need just to reach the demand. If they knew about what we have, they would say yes, and they would spend the money for a long time. I'm talking about that group. I'm not talking about the 70% of the population or 60% of the population that doesn't want to listen to you. I'm just talking about the people that want to listen. Now, if we're more optimistic, let's say that we got 20 customers each, well, then we still need 4.5 million people. And if you're even more optimistic, we say we got 30 each, which is a little bit higher than the US average of 20, 21 to 1. Then we would still then need a total of 2.89, or let's just round it off to 3 million people. Now, how long time does it take us to recruit 3 million people if we do it 1,000 a month, which we did the best month in the US? Well, that takes from here to, I don't know how many generations, maybe 500, 800 years, something like that. So that's way too long. And that's why we need to recruit, because there is actually people out there that wants what you've got. You will never reach all of them. The only way we reach them is through recruiting. Now, when that's said, there is no purpose in that recruiting specifically unless they turn into 4 customers as soon as possible. I would say in the first couple of days, get to 4 customers and then 10 customers as soon as possible. Let's do it in the first couple of months. But when the 4 and the 10 is done, I would say now you've got another 8, 9 months to get your refund with 25. So then you could put all of our effort into recruitment. And the reason for the recruitment is if they knew 90 million people would have taken the test so far, if they knew. They don't know, so that's why, like, if you made a survey, you wouldn't get that data because they don't know. But if they knew, they would have said yes. Yes, I'm prone to find out if my body is working the way it's supposed to work. They would say yes to that question. So that's why we got to go for the recruitment. So now with that in your mind, then getting 2 people, that gets 2 people, that gets 2 people, and we do that quickly and effectively. Come in with the ultimate kit. Everyone gets 10 tests. You run out and get rid of your 10 tests as quickly as possible. Hopefully, you then get customers or not new partners with it, and then you cycle those tests. So when the customer then gets their test, you cycle that to another customer, and then when they get it, you cycle that to another customer. And when the partner gets their 10 tests, you cycle those 10 tests out to their potential customers. That's the building strategy that works so fantastically in every single market. And we need millions of people to sell Zinzino products for us to both reach our targets, but more than anything else, for us to be there able to deliver and render the service that people need to really get what we're serving them when they get on the balanced soil. And hearing the story about the microbiome, hearing the story about the immune system, that is something that we're specialized in. So yes, we need to recruit, Carla, lots and lots and lots, as many as we can, and then they get customers, and that creates a royalty income or a recurring income, which could be pretty amazing to have.
Okay, so if we were to break that down, we need to recruit. And I think everybody who signs up in Zinzino and everybody who's a partner on here, everybody knows that. I think there are some things that keep people held back because and I think probably one of the number one thing is what people think or what they're doing, and it really is a system that we have. And if people just have it in their heart of how they're helping people, because I know that's what motivates me is helping a lot of people. It's not hard just to pick up that phone, make that list, call people and set up those meetings to do it as a system, because a lot of people need to get out there and contact people. But I think one of the most genius things that we've done is from our Express Start, where we have an exact system of what to do. And there's a few things that everybody needs to do, whether it's now, whether it's next year, whether then when they started, or if they're brand new or not. We do the same things.
Yeah,
So
so
maybe
we're some people on this call, which I call professionals. We've done direct selling, network marketing for a while. So this is not a problem for us. But let's talk to everyone that is new here and everyone that will be new in the future. It's like getting on an exercise program. There isn't that much of a difference. So exercise program is good for you. If you go outside running, or if you go to or you have at-home equipment, it's free. Exercise program can be free. It gives you an enormous amount of benefits, and I don't need to cover all of that. But if you start out and you've done it for 2 or 3 days, and then you take a break, if anybody have tried that, and you're not out exercising for a week or 2, it is so tough. Have you felt that? I felt that. I spent years and years of my life to develop the discipline to get over the getting on the shoes, and in the end, I had to do this thing that no matter what, when the time was at this clock, I would put on all my gear and my shoes, and I would have to walk down into a home gym, and then I would just do something, at least walking, and then in the end, that became something that I crave on doing every single day, which is the right thing to do. You should crave exercise at least 6 times a week. When it comes to recruiting, it's very much the same thing. if you spend too much time thinking about it and too little time doing it, it becomes a little bit tough. So instead of doing that, just decide that, hey, I've got a test or I've got a different method. So either a test that you have physically, or you have a plan to have a meeting where you will introduce the test and you'll have it in your hand. And then your goal is just every day, hand off one test. Get one test out there. That's the mission. You have the expectation that everyone will sign up. The statistics will be different. But as long as you are handing off tests or the system of what Carla mentioned in the Express Start, you're handing off the presentation, you're handing off the information, and you're calling them to place the order, it will be easy to do. And then you just follow up with all the people that haven't replied yet. And if you do that on a consistent basis, it becomes something you crave in the end. And when you crave that, and that gives you energy and excitement because you're a part of saving the world, or at least saving the human beings in the world, then it will go super fast for you.
Okay, I love that. Okay, Orion, we're ready to be creating even more momentum in the last half of 2025 here. Just to finish some things off, what are you looking most forward to in the future? Not just the last half of 2025, maybe you also have other things that you want to say, but what are you looking most forward to Zinzino-wise?
I think the project that we have on the next generation oil, like getting that launched, getting that scaled, that's something that really, really, really makes me excited because we're talking about, so we changed the world already by bringing test-based nutrition to the world. We changed the omega industry by bringing the focus on the omega-6 to omega-3 balance and having the test-based. Just a side note, I have met so many people that own omega-3 factories and companies that sells omega-3. I've met tons of them. So far, not a single one passed the test. When I say that we're bringing a revolution, we're really bringing a revolution. Out of all the nutritionists that I've personally tested, there are others that did pass that I didn't personally test, but all of the ones that I was personally involved with, I didn't prick the finger. It's just one person that passed the test so far, and he is one of our employees. And when he shows his first test result, he's always so proud. It was 3-1, and he spoke at your last event. And then he was giving the same diet to his wife, he thought, and she was 20 something to 1 or something like that. So it was only him in the household. So he didn't do as well as he thought, but Colin did pass. And I was shocked because I'm like, usually I have a serious heart-to-heart conversation with them. You've been teaching this subject, you've been writing about it in your books, you've published studies, and you failed the test, I love that. A little bit revenge mode, but bringing then an industrial revolution on top of the marketing revolution, that excites me. Like if we succeed, and I say if because there is 1,000 things that can go wrong before it's at full scale, okay? Which means that it's delayed. But if we succeed with it, the impact we have on this planet will make us a brand like one of the big brands. I termed the Netflix of nutrition in the past to explain people how we want everyone on subscriptions. So the point with Netflix is that you don't buy on demand, you need a subscription, and then you can buy on demand. And I love that concept. You need your base, 10, 15 bucks a month, and then you can, in addition to that, shop more. We want everyone on a base, and then they can shop more on top of that. So Zinzino is the Netflix of nutrition. And I think that with that, we will be as known in the future as the mega companies. And that's maybe what I look the most forward to. At the same time, Carla, that every time somebody new picks it up, they run through the 4 customers and the 60 and 90-day fast start to create the duplication, makes her $2,500, $3,000 in a short period of time, and gets an opportunity to create an additional income or a full-time income. That excites me a lot as well, because it doesn't help to develop the best testing technology. It doesn't help to develop the best product unless we manage to build a machine or a movement that brings it to the market. And that's the new fast starts. They're creating that movement together with the leaders of Zinzino. So that's equally exciting. So is it the new global president recognition, which I then know leads to X number of fast starts? Or is it the revolution in the new area of oil? Or is it the new test technology, which we'll look at 2 years from now? My goal is that we should be able to tell you accurately in a test your capability of building muscle and burning fat. I mean, is it the revolution when we are the first company in the world that can tell you that answer? And I'm saying that's a revolution because we don't know how to do it yet. I'll be fully transparent. We have some ideas, but we don't know exactly how we're going to get it in a cheap version. We can do it in a very expensive version, but we don't like that. That costs, like right now, probably if you gave us 3,000-4,000 euros or dollars, we'd be able to give you the answer today. But that's not duplicatable. We need to get it down to the 100 euro or 200 euro, $200 version. That excites me, yes. And one day we will do that.
It's exciting. Well, I was looking at on the website. I really like the marketing that we're doing. We have such an incredible marketing department. I love that it says this is not fish oil, because it really makes you think and go into the details of how different this is. Now, Orjan, 2025 already is legendary. We've had records in sales. We've had records in stock. Maybe we should say something about that. We have records going in so many ways. And somebody also legendary, turning a big leaf here at the 5-0 mark for you, and the anniversary of Zinzino for 20 years. 2025 is definitely a legendary year. What should we be looking to do right now when we get off this call to finish off the month?
Well, start off the month maybe, since we're all the way in the beginning. Finally, I could give.
Well, finish
Carla-
off the year. Did I do?
Yeah. Start of the month, finish the second half of the year with a boom. I think what we've already talked about. So know, like when we truly know that this is going to happen, you will not be one of the ones that got lost in Ogullis's picture. You will be Ogullis. You will be the one on the journey to success, the one that succeeds. I mean, what he has done, and I could talk about you, Carla, as well, but it's in our Scandinavian culture, it's easier to brag about people that is not there. You know us, you're American, but you lived enough in Denmark that we're different over here. But it's incredible because he became a large shareholder, he built a huge team, and so on. And even with that, there was a lot of people that didn't continue on the journey together with him. Now, other people gets discouraged of the same reason, and that's the reason why they didn't finish their journey. And I think that that's like the one thing that you must not let yourself get caught up in. And I call it the principle of counting the right numbers. And that's a philosophy that I brought into my life very early on. Somewhere in the 20s, I learned that you got to count right numbers, and then you focus on growing what you counted. And my little example of it is we come from a soccer nation, so we play soccer. For those that doesn't know what soccer is, it's kind of like football, but you kick the ball all the time. Most people in America know soccer today. You didn't in 1993 when I went to high school. Then we were like strange people. But when you're a coach of a soccer team, And if you're a coach for, let's say, girls 11 or boys 11, doesn't matter, or whatever you call it, you will see that most of those will spend money. They will come to practice. They will drop out during the season. And by the time they're 15, 16 years old, 99.9999999% are gone. They're not playing soccer anymore. Should you then sit down and cry and said, I took money from the parents for the shoes. I took money from the parents for the ball. They paid me every single year for showing up there. We took weekends off. We traveled. They had to give up work to go to tournaments. And what was it for? It was for nothing because none of the people ever succeeded. Is that the right numbers to count as a soccer coach? And every one of you goes, no, you can't count that. They tried out, they gave their best, they got value from it, they got exercise, they got health, they got community, they got fun. The parents are happy because their kids weren't on the iPad those hours, so they're happy to pay for the shoes and so on. And it's okay, it fuels our economy, people get jobs, and like you have all of those arguments on the other side because you've learned to count the right numbers. And that is when the next World Cup is and the American team wins in soccer for the first time in world history since the earth crust cool. May God forbid, I'm Norwegian, we intend to win it, but you guys want that to happen, okay? And then you celebrate that, and all the soccer coaches around America says, that's due to me because I put thousands of people through my program, and that made us the best nation in the world. That's counting the right numbers. And Andrew has learned to count the right numbers. He counts the diamonds that he has today. He counts the platinums that he has today. He counts the executives that he has today. He counts the new people that just achieved gold and silver. And he looks for the people that are about to break their fast start and he counts them. Not the people in the picture that quit, unless he is looking to re-recruit them, to tell them about all the great things that we achieved on the journey. So when you're on your journey, if you become dedicated to counting the number of what's successful, that will fuel you and bring you from one level to the next level to the next level.
Love that. Love that. Well, we need to count the right things. Well, Orjan, I'm looking forward to seeing you at the 20th anniversary celebration that we're having for our annual event coming up here in October. I know that's going to be, we can hear from the planning, it's going to be absolutely incredible. So we're excited for the future of Zinzino. It's already legendary, but it's going to be even more with all the things that we're doing. We're excited about it. And now we know exactly what we should be doing to growing Zinzino to meet that vision you have. Any last words, Orjan?
Yeah, you have a vision for the US about filling some stadiums. Tell us about that.
Actually, I've had that vision from the very start. Listening to others, actually, as time went on, it got bigger and bigger. And I had that vision, came actually from before Art Jonek started in the company. He showed this picture of a meeting that they had in that company, and I thought, "Oh, we are going to do that in Zinzino." And to have that stadium filled, I found that picture. I mixed a couple pictures together between Art's picture and then another top leader of another company was speaking at our event. She was on and she showed her team group. It was a huge picture again, you know, with that great big square in the middle where they got things on. I had that we're going to have 1 million people just here in my team. And I knew that that's going to happen. And even though there's been a lot of ups and downs and things that made it bumpy along the road, along the way, the vision never changed. And I know we're going to have that huge stadium situated right here in the United States. My team spreads out over many 20-something countries now, but I know it will have 1 million people that I've made a influence on, not in doubt. 100,000 children because it made a huge difference for my kid, and that huge stadium that it used to be where I was excited about all of the things, my team and this or whatever, but it's not about that anymore because now I see we'll have that. But it's about every life change that's in that room, whether it's from the products or from that it's just changed that mom who works at Dairy Queen that now she's able to stay at home with her kids. I love that everybody there is going to have a story, and that just gets my fire going. And I'm not in doubt that that's going to happen, that huge stadium. And the last event we just had, I think we had about 600 tickets sold for all of the North American group that got together. So we've got a lot of work to go, Orion, but it won't even take very many years. At the rate we're going and all of the excited people on that we're out just making a difference, I believe that's going to happen within some short time. I've set a goal of growing at least 50% every year until we hit that 1 million. So for me, it'll be 2037 in my team, and I think it's going to be before. Yes, I have a goal. I have a vision too. I got it from you, Orion.
I love it. So you're going to 1 million customers, and then we'll fill out a stadium in the US with all the teams first, and then later on it'll be only your team. So thank you everyone that is with me here tonight. If you're watching the replay, thank you for watching. I think it's brilliant. Thank you for the ones that are on camera. It's making my life a lot easier when you have your camera on. I can actually see some responses. I'm not just talking to myself. So I appreciate that a lot. And there is so many great people in this team. So if we team up together, we put our differences aside, and we decide to help all the new ones the best we can to drive success with them, this will go much faster than you think, and that is for every one of us. So let's make it happen together. We've got what the world needs, so let's bring it out to them one test at a time. Thank you.
We're with you on that, Orion. Letting everybody unmute. Thanks, everybody, and thank you, Orion, for being on. We so appreciate you. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
from
you. Have a good
Sweden.
day.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
everybody.
Much
Thank
success.
you.
Bye
Thank you,
bye.
Carla.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you,
bye.
everyone.
Thank
you, Carla.
Thank you, Orjan.
Thank you. Thank you.
So much.
Amazing call.
Fish niya, Adam. Gali ko may sakit
Thank
dala.
you, Zinzino family. See you next
Thank you,
time.
Carla. Hey, good job, Carla. Thank you.
Thanks, Brad. Have a great day, everybody.
You too. Bye.
Bye, everyone.